Hello, everybody. Marie here. Thank you for joining me. I'm on my own tonight. Woohoo. But it's you and me together. So if you are here, you can say hello, say hi in the chat. I'm going to try and see who's here. But I'm also teaching at the same time, so it might get a little crazy tonight. Before we start, let's talk about what we're going to study tonight or practice tonight. So we are talking about English job interviews. So it's hard. I know a lot of people are looking for employment, struggling. And then if they have to do if they have to do an interview and it's not in their first language, this is scary. So today I'm going to help you a little bit, completely free. If you guys have pens or paper, keep it near. I want you to make notes because you will probably use this in the future. And that is what we're doing today. So I am going to share my screen with you because I want to show you some stuff. Okay, so we are talking about this today. It is scary. I know I've been to a lot of interviews myself, but I'm going to try and make it easy for you today. So before we do that, you don't know me. I don't know you. So let's get to know each other a little bit better. So here we go. My name is Marie. I am from Cape Town, South Africa, and I've been an English teacher for 9 years. Now, why don't you try and introduce yourself? You can say, my name is blah, blah, I'm from, and then what is your job? What have you been doing for the last couple of years? What is your occupation? So if you want to, you can take a screenshot of this, practice it in your free time. It's always good to do that. All right, next up, my hobbies. So hobbies are things that we do in our free time. Mine, during the week, I try to read as much as possible. I also exercise once a day, but now it's winter and it's rainy. So if it's not rainy, I go out. Baking is my favorite thing to do. I am happiest in the kitchen trying out new recipes. So what about you? What do you do in your free time? That's fun. Next up, let's talk about our family. So I have a pretty big family. I'm one of 4 siblings. I have an older sister and twin brothers who are younger than I am. So stuff that we do together, we usually have barbecues together and we enjoy fishing. Well, my brothers enjoy fishing and we love hiking during the summer. So that's a bit about my family. And now let's talk about travel. Now with COVID and everything, I know traveling is restricted, but in the past I have traveled quite a bit. I'm very fortunate to say that. I really, really love to travel. The next place I want to visit is South America or the UK. So I've been to a lot of countries, but I have not been to the UK or South America. So South American continent, I do want to explore. There are many amazing places to see on this planet. So why don't you talk a little bit about travel? Maybe you like it, maybe you don't like it. Okay, now you know a bit about me. So the next thing we're going to do is talk about English interviews. Okay, now I am going to discuss 5 common interview questions. Now, it depends on what kind of job you are interviewing for. But generally, these questions remain the same. So I'm going to show you how to answer these properly. So what to expect? like I said, interviews have a certain structure. So we'll work on some great answers together in this lesson. Now, no matter what kind of profession you practice, the interview questions generally remain the same. Now, remember, if you are in the medical field or in the education field, obviously it might be a little different, but it kind of stays the same. So I'm going to help you today with that. All righty. Question number 1. Tell me a little about yourself. Now, here is the structure of an excellent introduction. So I'm just going to go through each point, and then I will give you an example, my example. Okay, so the first thing you should do is introduce yourself, obviously, and you should say thank you. Why should you say thank you? Well, first of all, it's good manners. And it's people can see you're polite. The next thing you should do is briefly, and that's like summarizing your education and your previous working experience. Next thing you can do is describe your personality and your work ethic, again, briefly. We don't want a long explanation. Also important, you should talk about why you're interested in this job. I'll explain that now. And then lastly, you should make the interviewer remember you by having a strong but friendly conclusion to your introduction. All right, so how do you do this? Let me show you. Oh, wait a minute. Why do they ask you to introduce yourself if they already know who you are? So they have read your resume. They know who you are. They know what you've done. Why do they still ask you to do that? Let me tell you. So firstly, if you are not a native speaker, like many of us, this is basically a language test to check if you're able to conduct business in English or not. Okay, the second reason is some people's written and oral English are not on the same level. So a lot of people have amazing resumes. It's perfectly written. The grammar is amazing. But then when you speak, not the same thing. They want to see what your actual English level is. Number 3, they want to see if you are presentable, which is important, and whether you have confidence or not. So unfortunately, this is important. And in this first question, they will see all these things. So let's move on how to do this properly. Okay, the first thing, introduce yourself and say thank you. So this is my introduction. It's about me. Now you can learn more about me. Okay, so I'm just going to read this so you can get a general idea. Good morning, my name is Marie. I'm from Cape Town, South Africa. And I would just like to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to have this interview today. I've looked forward to meeting you. So this is polite. It shows you have manners. Moving on, briefly discuss your education. So this is not everything. It's just highlighted. So I graduated from Stellenbosch University in 2008, and I have been an English teacher for the past 9 years. I have various teaching diplomas, and I've completed many courses, including a CELTA and a TEFL. During the past few years, I've taught all levels and ages of students, from complete beginners to advanced students, as well as students aged 4 to 60 years. I had the privilege of teaching in 2 different countries. These include South Africa and South Korea. I'm currently one of the head teachers at Fluentella, and this is true. Okay, now, obviously, your education and your experience is going to be a little bit different. So I think you should take a screenshot of this. You're more than welcome to. And then go and rewrite this with all your information. Look at the grammar that I have used. it is the correct grammar, obviously, and it will help you to make a good impression in your interview. Okay, moving on to the next part. Describe your personality and work ethic. So adjectives that you should be using. I used supportive. I used the word thorough. And I said I pay a lot of attention to details and deadlines are very important to me. So go and think about what you are good at. What makes you good at your job and how you function as an individual and as a group member. This is very important. Next, you should talk about why you're interested in this job. So this is mine. I believe this position would enable me to develop as a teacher and educator. I'm an exceptional communicator and I can relate to students studying a second language as I am bilingual myself. I do speak 2 languages. I would like to focus more on administration and writing children's fiction. That is why this position as head of the language department would suit me very well. So this is made up, but I mean, you can add yours. It's obviously not the same if you're in a different field. So go and change that. Okay, lastly, as a closure to your introduction question, lastly, I would just like to say that I look forward to learning more about your company and this interview. I've heard a lot of good things about the name of the company, and it would be an honor to call this place my second home. Thank you very much. Okay, now it seems long, but this is a very thorough introduction. Remember to take a screenshot and practice this with your own information. All right, next question they usually ask, question number 2, is what do you know about our company or business? Why on earth do they want to know this? It's actually very simple. If you have done no research about the company, you will not get the job. This is a fact. Because if you know nothing about this company, it shows the interviewer that you don't care about the job. And frankly, that you're not the right person for the job. So you do need to go and do some research about this company. So be prepared for your interview. So how do you answer this question? It's actually very simple. You talk about the research you've done and where you found this information. It can either be online from a current employee or a former employee. Obviously, you're going to come across some negative things. Don't mention that. Trying to make a good impression. Focus on the positive. So maybe you read something in an online newspaper, or you saw that they maybe they won an award for something. You can mention that. It shows that you did your homework. Okay, so how do you do this? It's my answer. I've done a lot of reading about the name of the company, and so far I'm very impressed. According to customer reviews, your service and assistance are of a very high standard. People are genuinely satisfied with your courses or products, depending on what kind of job you're interviewing for. Now, if you cannot find someone to talk to, that's fine. You can always go and read a bit more. But say I found an employee there. Last week, I spoke to an employee from your office in Shanghai. He told me that he couldn't be happier with the environment he works in, that they have great work benefits, and there are always opportunities to develop one's career when working for blah, blah. And now, if they have won any awards, you can mention this. So to top it all, your company won the Company of the Year award in 2012. That's incredible. Congratulations. So if you cannot answer this question, I'm almost 100% sure that you will not get hired. They don't always ask this, but you need to be prepared. Because if you don't know anything about the company, it looks like it's just a random position and you're just trying to get any job you can. So you need to look focused and you need to be prepared. Okay, take a screenshot. Next question, number 3. Okay. They usually ask, why are you interested in this position? So this is kind of they want to know some things. For example, they want to know why you're leaving your current position. And they also want to know why this job caught your eye, why you would like this job. So it's good to be honest, but do not badmouth your former company or boss. This means don't complain about them. It is disrespectful and the interviewer will probably not like it. Try not to mention anything about a bigger salary. I know that's usually why most people change jobs and go to interviews. Try not to mention it. It's not polite. However, this is something important. Some interviewers will ask you what kind of salary you expect. How do you answer that question? Now, if it were me, I wouldn't say a number. I would say I expect to get paid the same amount other workers in that field get paid. So obviously it depends on the fluctuation of the market, but you don't have to say a number. Remember that. You don't have to say a number. And then you should also talk about how this position or job will help you develop. That is the main thing, developing. So how do you answer that? Okay, this is my answer. Like I mentioned before, I feel that it's time for me to take on a position where I would be more involved in the management of a school. So obviously this will change depending on what you are doing. Teaching is my passion, but managing a group of teachers is my dream. And hopefully I can work on my managerial skills while employed at your company. Now, this is something important. Sometimes we do feel stuck in a position. And you can mention this. You can say there's no room for advancement at my current workplace. And that is why it's time for me to move somewhere I can grow and develop. So this is something very positive. Interviewers want to hear that you are willing to develop and grow. Alrighty, moving on to the next question. Question number 4. Okay. Oh, this is a very common one. What was the biggest challenge you had to face and overcome at work? This question has 2 parts you need to address. So the interviewer basically wants to know if you can fix problems or not. Your answer will also show him or her what kind of worker you are. So firstly, you should briefly talk about what the problem was and why it was a problem. Please do not use an example where you are the cause of the problem. Try to find something else. Obviously, we all make mistakes, but try to find something that you didn't cause. And then next, talk about how you fixed the problem. So make it factual. Don't lie about it or don't change the truth a little bit, but try to sound not too confident. It is a little off-putting if someone is too confident about themselves. Okay. This is my example answer. So I was in a classroom setting because I am a teacher. It's going to change depending on what kind of field you are in, but this is mine. Well, there is one situation that really stands out. Back in 2012, while I was a teacher in South Korea, I had a little boy in my class called Sam. Sam was not the typical student. He had a hard time keeping up and finishing on time. His mother was upset and blamed me. I decided to show her that her son was talented in other things, but that he could also be successful in what she wanted. I worked with him one-on-one for almost a year before we started to see any improvement. I'm still in contact with him, and I'm proud to say that he is not only good at learning languages, but also in creating and designing cars. I used an interest of his to make him fall in love with English. Sam is such a dedicated and intelligent child. So now you see there was a problem. I fixed it. And then the consequences or the result of fixing that problem, you should also mention. Okay, next question. Oh, and this is the hardest one. This is one that people really struggle with. All right. What is your biggest strength and weakness? Dum, dum, dum. Okay, so this is a firm favorite in most interviews. And it's similar to the previous question where there are more than one part of the answer. So talk about your strongest quality related to the workplace. They're not asking about your home life or your friends or your social life. No, about the workplace. And give a few examples. Be humble and sincere, not too confident again. Now, when you talk about your weaknesses or weakness, briefly state what it is, but keep it short. You don't want to go on forever, but you have to show how you are working on this problem. So it shows the interviewer that you are aware of your problem and that you're trying to fix it. So give an example of what you're trying to do to better yourself. Okay, so I have a long list. Maybe you can find something that applies to you. So we're going to go through 4 different personalities. The first one we're going to talk about is being expressive. So that means you like to communicate or you're good at communicating. Now remember, for every strength, a strength can also be a weakness. So decide where you fall in this. I'll tell you where I fall. I wouldn't say I'm very expressive. I'm the next type of personality, but let me show you anyway. So a strength could be that you're a good communicator. That means you have the interpersonal skills to collaborate with others, your supervisor, your customers, or your clients in a clear way. Okay, it's a talent. Not a lot of people are able to do it. But now the same thing can also be a weakness. You could be overly social. And that means you spend too much time talking to others and socializing, and it might be a distraction when you have to work. Okay, so the next strength, maybe you are enthusiastic. That means you are eager to work and achieve something. You're excited about working and the possibilities ahead. Or you could be over enthusiastic. Excuse me. So that means you come on too strong. You get carried away and cause awkward social interactions. Maybe you're over enthusiastic. I don't know. Okay, the next strength, you could be imaginative or creative. That means you're able to produce or use original or new ideas. But on the other side, you could be unrealistic. And that sometimes you don't think reasonably, or you have a wrong idea of what is likely to happen or of what you can really do. So think about it. Do you have any of these strengths or any of these weaknesses? Take a screenshot so you can use it in your answer. Let's move on to the next kind of personality. This is me. I'm analytical. So that means I want to do things the right way. Okay, so same thing. A strength can also be a weakness. Let's see the first one here. Intellectual. If you're intellectual, you're able to understand complicated ideas and you wonder a lot about things you don't understand yet. That's a strength. But if you're too intellectual, that means you don't take others or your own feelings into consideration when making decisions. This is me. I am thorough. So that means I work in a detailed and careful way, and I pay attention to detail. If you're too thorough, though, you are a perfectionist, and you might have trouble keeping to deadlines because you're trying to make everything perfect. So maybe that's one of your weaknesses. And then the next strength, maybe you're very disciplined. That means you're able to carefully control the way that you work, live, or behave, especially to achieve a goal. But if you are too disciplined, you're too demanding of yourself and others, you expect only the best or the highest standard. That could be a weakness. Okay, moving on to the next personality. Maybe you are a driver, and that means you want to get things done. You go to work, you work, and you get it done. Okay, so if you are a driver, one of your strengths could be that you are independent. You do not need others to be successful. You're able to work by yourself, which is something a lot of people can't do. But if you are too independent, you struggle to work with others in a group, and you prefer relying on yourself. Next one, you could be very decisive. That means you have the ability to make decisions quickly and effectively, so good decisions. However, if you are too decisive, you might not take the time to consider other perspectives or opinions. All right, last one. You could be very determined. And that means you have the desire to do something and you will not let anyone or any situation stop you. But if you are too determined, you overpower or domineer others in a group, and you are focused on doing it the way you want to do it. Some people have that weakness. So is this you? Take a screenshot, decide if this is you. Okay, and our last personality is someone supportive. That means you want people to get along and to work together. You don't want any fighting or bickering in the office. Okay, if you're supportive, that means you help and encourage those around you. However, if you are too supportive, you are a people pleaser. So a people pleaser is someone who lets others take advantage of them because they do not want conflict. They agree with other people too easily and they do not stand up for themselves. Maybe this is you. Another quality of a supportive person, you could be very patient. That means you have the ability to wait or to continue doing something despite difficulties, or to suffer without complaining or becoming annoyed. But if you're too patient, maybe you are a procrastinator. That means you have poor time management skills and you sometimes delay something that must be done, often because it's unpleasant or boring. All right, the last strength. If you're supportive, you will also maybe be diplomatic. If you're diplomatic, you can control a difficult situation without upsetting anybody. This is quite a good strength to have. But if you're too diplomatic, that means you're not assertive or directive, and you can't delegate. It's not a good quality for a manager to have. That means you struggle to give a particular job, duty, or right to someone else so that they can do it for you. Is this you? Maybe, maybe not. Decide what kind of strength and weakness you have, and then I'm going to show you how to put this into practice. Okay, so this is true. This is my weakness and strength. Okay, so I suppose my biggest strength is that I'm flexible. I'm good at taking on challenges, and the fact that some things change suddenly does not bother me. It is not a problem for me to adjust, and I will always continue to work and finish on time, no matter the circumstances. I will figure out a way to be successful, which leads me to my biggest weakness. So remember, this is a two-part answer. One goes into the other, my weakness. I'm very hard on myself when it comes to failure. In the past, it really got me down when I struggled and failed at work. Now I am trying my best to try even harder the next time and learn from my mistakes. I believe in the saying, there are only two options: make progress or make excuses. I prefer not to make excuses. So now remember, I said it's important to show how you are working on your weakness. And this is what I did. I mentioned my weakness, that I'm very hard on myself. How am I fixing it? I stop making excuses and I try to make progress. Okay, so is this you? Maybe try to put those adjectives that we just talked about into your answer and explain a little bit. Okay, so we finished 5 questions. If you do have another question, you're not sure about something, you can type it for me in the comments. I will get back to you about what you're asking. So lastly, and this is very important as well, besides your answers to the questions, you can also ask questions. So ask questions about things that are not clear, but you're probably going to have a little list of questions that you want to ask. If you have talked about this in your interview, do not ask the same question again. So that means it is redundant. You already talked about it. So while you're in the interview, you can make notes, you can scratch out a question that you had, but already the interviewer already answered. Dress nicely. I know people always say that. It does make a difference. Even if you think you're trying your best to look good, but you think, oh, the shirt is so old, or I don't look good, people see when you make an effort. So try and dress nice and pay attention to what the person is saying to you. I know you'll be super nervous. I always am, but smile. Even if you don't want to, I mean, you will probably won't want to, but smile, because it makes a huge difference. Now, if you don't understand a question, ask the interviewer to repeat or explain what they mean. You can do that. You're allowed to do that. And then relax. If you're nervous, you're not going to enjoy it. Try to enjoy it. It should be a fun experience instead of something that you're dreading and that you hate every second of. I think if you enjoy it, you will probably be successful. I know it's going for interviews are hard, and maybe you've been to a few. Don't give up. You will find the right job and you will find the right person. Just don't give up. Okay, so that was it. Lastly, I just want to mention that even if you're not familiar with Fluentella, we do have something amazing for you. You can get a free lesson. Like, there's no payment involved, there's no strings attached. It's literally a free lesson in any of the languages that we teach. So we teach a couple of languages. We have Afrikaans, Brazilian Portuguese, English, Mandarin, and Spanish. All our teachers are qualified and amazing. You're going to fall in love with them. They really want to meet you. So to do that, go to fluentella.com, or you can find us on any of our social media platforms, which covers most of them out there. Facebook, like here on Facebook, you can contact us. Instagram, KakaoTalk, Naver, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and some more. But these are the major ones. If you want to get in touch, if you have questions, you can email us. But go ahead and get a free lesson. I mean, these days, you don't get a lot of stuff for free. Go get it. It's there for you. We really, really want to meet you. And that is it for me. We're finished for today. I hope this helped. Maybe you think now, it didn't really help, but go and sit, go back into this video, write down your things, practice. I think you'll be surprised at how much this is going to help you. So good luck with your job search. I'm sure it will be successful soon. Remember to go and book your free lesson with us. And thank you for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.